If you don't want gallstones and your gallbladder removed, resulting in a lifetime of diarrhea, hypothyroidism, weight gain, low energy, pancreatic cancer, colon cancer, heart attacks, and bone fractures, you might want to think twice about hormone replacement therapy and low-fat diets. The medical world wants you to think the gallbladder is just a useless sac and removing it isn't a big deal. Did you know your gallbladder affects your pancreas, your thyroid, your weight gain, your bloating, your eyesight, your muscles, your bones, your energy, your hormones, and a million other bodily functions? So what does the gallbladder do anyway? Well, it's just a sac, right? It just hangs there under your liver, but it collects a magic stuff called bile. I know it's a disgusting sounding name, but it's a magic stuff. It's created in the liver, and when you eat foods that contain fats and oils, the gallbladder releases some of that bile to mix with your food and help break down the fats, just like dishwashing liquid. That's what it's kind of, you think of bile like dishwashing liquid. But that's just the beginning. But wait, there's more. There's so much more. Just like dishwashing liquid, it kills germs. And that's really important because without it, you'd have bacteria overgrowing in your small intestine, a condition called SIBO. Bile is also alkaline, so it stops stomach acid from burning your intestines. This is also helped by the pancreas, which adds sodium bicarbonate to the mix. So the gallbladder and the pancreas are like buddies or like a wrestling tag team. Bile also contains waste from the liver, which is constantly being made. So if you're not producing enough bile, waste backs up, and there's a lot of waste because everything that goes in your mouth ends up going through the liver. All the alcohol and the drugs and the ice cream, the cream sauces and the chocolate cake and corn chips. Next time you have some potato chips or crackers, read the label. You see all those preservatives and mysterious chemicals and long words in the ingredients? Your liver has to try to make sense of all that. It's an overwhelming job. And people wonder why they end up with liver disease. Over 2 million people die every year of acute liver failure. Keeping your liver clean is one of the most important things. It's a matter of life and death. And you know what helps clean the liver? Drum roll, you ready for this? Bile. Yes, the liver makes bile, but guess what? Bile is reused. It gets recycled. It's just the body is just so amazing. After carrying out waste from the liver, emulsifying fats and oils, sterilizing 30 feet of small intestine from bacteria and germs, lubricating the small intestine so things move on through, it gets to the ileum, the last 10 feet of the small intestine, where 95% of the bile salts are reabsorbed and returned to the liver via the portal vein, where the liver then secretes them again into fresh new bile, and the cycle continues. So without bile, your liver wouldn't be constantly flushed clean. It's amazing. Bile also helps remove excess cholesterol, so if you have high cholesterol, it could be from not having enough bile. Bile is needed for fat-soluble vitamins to work, like vitamins A, D, E, and K, which are useless if they can't combine with some kind of fat. So, for example, if you're not absorbing vitamin A, you end up with poor vision. If you're not absorbing vitamin D properly, you end up with inflammation and you get sick a lot. Wrinkles, skin conditions, and muscle weakness means you're not getting enough vitamin E, and low vitamin K means you bleed easily. So, people on a low-fat diet can end up with poor vision problems, weak muscles, brittle bones, and they bleed all over the place. And they also probably look like they're pregnant from bloating because of SIBO, small intestinal bacteria overgrowth. Bile is antibacterial, so it helps keep the small intestine free of bacteria. People who had their gallbladder removed also had higher chance of having SIBO, and they also might have problems absorbing vitamins A, D, E, and K, even though they're actually taking those vitamins. Low bile can result in hypothyroidism because bile helps convert T4 to T3, the active version of the thyroid hormone. Low thyroid means all your bodily functions are slow and run down. You have weight gain, low energy, dry hair, yada, yada, yada. You heard all this before. Your liver does about 3/4 of that, but did you know that your gut also converts another 20% T4 to T3? So taking antibiotics also leads to thyroid dysfunction. So if someone has their gallbladder removed, a lot of bile gets lost and doesn't get reabsorbed to help clean the liver, so the liver clogs up and doesn't work well anymore, converting hormones, including getting rid of estrogen, which makes you fat, and the thyroid isn't getting T3, especially if the gut is messed up. Bile also makes things slippery and helps stuff pass easily through your intestines, so without proper bile, things slow down and stop you up, resulting in constipation, fermentation, more bacteria, more gas, more bloating, and digestive issues. Not good. Did you know a high-carb, low-fat diet can lead to pancreatitis and pancreatic cancer? Ooh, it just keeps getting better and better. Yes, that pancreas duct joins with the gallbladder duct in the small intestine, and gallstones and bile sludge can jam up that junction and create back pressure on the pancreas. The pancreas creates enzymes that digest things, and this backup can cause those enzymes to back up and start irritating and actually digesting the pancreas itself. How scary is that? Okay, estrogen. Oh, this just keeps getting better, right? Okay, it's amazing how many women are running to get hormone replacement therapy. Forget diet and lifestyle, just get HRT, right? Oh, it makes it feel so great. Yeah, okay, that's short term. Wait till the long-term effects kick in. There are no shortcuts. You guessed it, high estrogen can create gallstones. Estrogen increases cholesterol levels in bile and decreases the secretion of bile salts and slows down how quickly the gallbladder empties, resulting in bile stasis, meaning thick, sludgy bile that gums up your bile ducts and gets hard and turns into gallstones. High estrogen, hormone replacement therapy, bioidentical hormones, birth control pills, drinking out of plastic water bottles, pregnancy, insulin resistance, and just plain being overweight are all high estrogen conditions which can result in gallstones because remember, the liver is hormone central. It creates, recycles, and regulates hormones, and if the liver is overworked and clogged with junk food and hormone therapy and alcohol and the bile isn't flowing, you're in for a world of trouble down the road. Remember, without bile, you're not absorbing fat-soluble vitamins like vitamin D. Without vitamin D, your bones crumble. So if someone tries to tell you that HRT is good for your bones and creates strong bones, run the other way as fast as you can. There's a reason your body has less estrogen after menopause, because you're not making babies anymore. You don't need it. Sure, you need some, but not that much. Remember, estrogen makes things grow, and having too much of it after menopause is why so many women are getting cancer of the reproductive organs. Breast, uterine, cervical, endometrial, and ovarian, because these cancers are hormone driven. If you're hopping on the HRT bandwagon, don't say I didn't warn you. You cannot cheat nature. There are no shortcuts. Change your diet and lifestyle and get back on track naturally, the way nature designed. Insulin, cortisol, and estrogen are three huge hormonal factors. It's not just eating lots of carbs and sugar and refined carbs, but also constant snacking in between meals, because that releases insulin. Snacking all day long leads to depleted bile reserves and insulin resistance. And high cortisol from stress and meds like prednisone, usually for insulin issues like diabetes, again from a bad diet of refined carbs, sugar, wheat, and alcohol. You see a pattern here? Maybe you're thinking, oh, well, yeah, fats and oils are so good. Great, I can eat my deep-fried pork rinds slathered in blue cheese dressing and never get gallstones. Sorry, but bad fats and oils like foods high in omega-6 like fried foods and salad dressings cause a lot of inflammation in the body, and that really taxes the liver, resulting in an inflamed fatty liver, resulting in depleted bile production. Okay, so how do you get more bile? Well, the liver is constantly making it, but it's kind of weak, so it dribbles into the gallbladder where it collects and becomes more concentrated over time. And then when you eat fats or oils, the gallbladder contracts, releasing some of that bile needed to mix with the food. On a normal diet, that's pretty regular. But if you're on a low-fat or a no-fat diet, the bile doesn't get released, so it starts to dry up in the gallbladder. It becomes all kind of gummy and combines with cholesterol to form gallstones, which back up and start to fill up the gallbladder. These gallstones get bigger and bigger, and eventually they are too big to pass through the bile ducts. Everything is so backed up, the gallbladder ends up being removed, resulting in a whole other world of problems. Some people claim that their magic olive oil and Epsom salt cleanses can flush out the gallbladder, but they don't realize just how small the bile ducts really are. The typical adult has bile duct maybe about 6 to 8 millimeters in diameter, though this can increase slightly with old age, like around 10 millimeters in older adults. The cystic duct, which connects the gallbladder to the common bile duct, is usually narrower, like around 2 to 3 millimeters in diameter. And then there are the smaller intrahepatic bile ducts. Usually they're no bigger than 2 millimeters in diameter. Bile ducts can dilate, but only so much, like about 10 to 15 millimeters, which can allow some gallstones to pass through, but gallstones can grow to the size of golf balls. So that would be like trying to pass a basketball through your anus. It's just not going to work. So if you try to dilate the bile ducts and one of the big stones gets lodged in there and gets stuck, it's a fast trip to the emergency room. If your bile has turned to sludge or has already turned into stones and is plugging up your bile ducts and you start to turn yellow, that's a condition called jaundice. And if you see someone with yellow eyes or skin, that's a pretty serious warning sign. Other signs to look for are nausea, vomiting, loss of appetite, fever, chills, pain underneath the right rib here, and constipation. Because hydrochloric acid can trigger bile to release, acid-blocking meds like calcium pills, alkaline stuff, alkaline water, and anything that lowers stomach acid can lead to gallstones. So also people with low melatonin have enhanced cholesterol that can turn into stones. Bile is supposed to break down cholesterol, so if you don't have enough bile, the cholesterol starts to concentrate and crystallize, becoming, that's right, you guessed it, gallstones. If you eat fatty foods like nuts or nut butter and are still hungry afterwards, then you may have low bile because fats and oils make you feel really full. I eat one handful of peanuts and I'm full for hours. But if you're still hungry, that means your fats aren't being broken down and absorbing into your body. You also won't be able to properly absorb the much needed omega-3 fatty acids that are needed for everything from inflammation to heart health. So low bile can even make you more prone to heart attacks. Scary, huh? If your poop floats or looks gray or light colored, you may be really low in bile. If the gallbladder is removed, bile flows right into the intestine even when you don't eat, and that irritates the intestines and creates chronic diarrhea. So, can you dissolve gallstones? Well, the medical world wants you to believe there's nothing you can do, so they can take out your gallbladder and charge you lots of money. Some people aren't so bad off, there's really no other choice at that point. But many people are not at that point yet and can make some serious changes in their life before it's too late. I suggest start by getting lecithin, any kind of lecithin. I like granules. Lecithin is a fat emulsifier. Take it and see what it does to your gallstones. It's also great for people who had their gallbladder removed because remember, the bile trickling out of the liver is too weak to really do its job properly because there's no sac for it to collect in and allow it to become concentrated. So lecithin helps. Put a few tablespoons on your food or in your smoothies. It doesn't taste bad. I kind of like it. So the first step to turning everything around is to stop the low-fat or no-fat nonsense. Include healthy fats in your diet and to get that bile production going and flowing. Like avocados, for example, are great. Olive oil is rich in healthy monounsaturated fats, which stimulate bile production. Heck, everything from peanut butter to coconuts, coconut oil, nuts and seeds. Vitamin C is necessary for converting cholesterol into bile salts. Of course, only use the herbal vitamin C, not the cheap synthetic stuff unless you want kidney stones. Bitter greens like a dandelion, greens, arugula, endive, radicchio, aloe vera help bile production. Lemons and limes are great. Garlic and onions contain sulfur compounds that help. Also, if your gallbladder is taken out, I suggest some fresh aloe vera. Just cut off a square about this big with the skin off. It really helps soothe the inside of the intestines. But real aloe vera, not the store-bought gel or liquid. Even if you have a gallbladder, you can still be low in bile for a number of reasons like a high-fat, low-carb diet or a dirty, fatty liver, too much fructose, alcohol, junk food, insulin, estrogen, and hormone therapy, of course. The liver produces bile salts from cholesterol, and these bile salts are then stored in the gallbladder if you have one. And if your liver isn't making enough bile salts, you can take bile salts in pill form. Just take like 2 or 3 pills with your food until you get back on track. If you have hyperthyroid, like Graves', meaning your thyroid is overactive, then don't take bile salts. So, a healthy liver is critical for producing bile, so you need to clean your liver and get it working right again, because if it's weak and run down, you're prone to viral hepatitis, for example. What weakens the immune system? Well, obviously alcohol, smoking, yes, that includes weed, drugs and meds, including the stuff you take for headaches and inflammation. Did you know acetaminophen is one of the biggest contributors to liver failure? That means Tylenol, NyQuil, Dayquil, Excedrin, Robitussin, and even Alka-Seltzer Plus. And speaking of inflammation, you're probably getting a lot of it from the inflammatory omega-6s in your food, like corn oil, safflower oil, soybean oil, plus, of course, sugar. Look at the ingredients on your list of everything you have. I guarantee you those oils are in there. Of course, stress wipes out the immune system. lack of proper sleep, metabolic syndrome brought on by insulin resistance, which comes from what? You guessed it, refined carbs, bread, sugar, cookies, pasta, pizza, ice cream, and pretty much anything baked in an oven. These are foods that weaken your immune system and make you sick. So what happens when you get sick? What do most people do? They take antibiotics. What do antibiotics do? Remember how I said that oxalates are not an issue with healthy people because they have a gut bacteria that breaks down oxalates, Oxalobacter formigenes. But if you take antibiotics, you can kill that bacteria, and many people usually never get it back, ending up with oxalate issues and kidney stones. Well, did you know your gut also has bacteria that produces some bile? Yep. And guess what? Antibiotics can kill those bacteria too. All right, so stop the low-fat, high-carb madness. Clean your liver. Take my liver formula. It has all kinds of herbs in there. For example, Chancapiedra, which is a South American herb that translates into stone breaker. Read the ingredients on here. Each one of those ingredients is great for cleaning the liver. Best herbs in the world. Take the herbal vitamin C. Stop alcohol, drugs, meds, hormones. Drink lots of water, not coffee or sodas or fruit juice because it's high in sugar or alcohol. One of the best things to do is to just simply stop eating. It's called fasting. It allows the pancreas to stop working and reset. It allows the liver to reset. It allows everything in your body to reset. If you can't go for a long time without eating, then do intermittent fasting where you only eat within a 6 to 8 hour window every day. And when you do, eat lots of fermented foods like sauerkraut, kimchi, natto, unsweetened non-dairy kefir, or make your own coconut yogurt. I made a video about that. Eat lots of fiber to feed the probiotics. Take supplemental bile salts with a couple pills with each meal until you get better. Lecithin to help emulsify the fats, and stop all the bread and the wheat and the cookies and the pasta and the ice cream and the low-fat refined carbs. If your gallbladder has already been taken out, the same rules apply. Stop all the bread, the wheat, the cookies, the crackers, the pizza, the pasta, the ice cream, and the low-fat refined carbs, unless you want to lose your kidneys too. Your body is an amazing miracle that has endured decades of abuse, and yet you're still here, alive, and given another chance to change your diet and lifestyle so you can experience and have an amazing, healthy, glorious, pain-free life. Turn your life around, starting now, and experience what it's really like to live. I'll see you in the next video.